Baruch Shem Yehovah Min Haolam V'ad Haolam Asher Lo HaChochma V'Hagvura U'Mishane Et Ha'itim Ve'et Hazmanim Ma'abir Melachim U'Mekim Melachim Noten Chochma L'Chochamim V'Dad Liyod'e Bina U'Megale Amukot U'Tzfunot U'Yodea Et Asher B'Choshech Ha'or Shore Etzlo Nehalel Hallelujah Chai Yehovah Chai Yehovah Selah Kodem Kol HaKabod U'Kol Todot Yo Yehovah Ve'Abdo HaNitzchi Abinu Adonenu Benam HaMashiach Linsichav Sarav Aturav U'Kol Chasidei Yobo Malchuto Ani Mevarech Etchem Shalom Alechem. So this is another recording, and I need to plug this in before. There we go. Okay, that's better. Another recording. Today, what we're going to talk about, basically, I want to get into sentence structure. The structure of sentences. So I have this file that I made some years ago. So for every verb, for every sentence, in order for it to be a complete thought, it has to be a verb. There are some relationships between Hebrew and English. You have to have a verb. You have to have a subject. You have to have a verb, and you have to have an object of the action expressed in the verb. So what we're going to do is, as I was saying, what we're going to do is just look at some sample sentences. We went over previously this list right here. Okay, and this is list of, it says Kinuye Haguf, personal pronouns. Okay, so we have Ani, we're just reviewing it. I'm going to look at the English at the same time. Okay, Ani is, depending on who's speaking, it can be masculine or it can be feminine. Ani, this is how it's spelled with the nikud. The thing to know about nikud, the nikud, what people normally call nikudot, can also be called nikud or dotting. That's what nikud means is dotting. The nikud is essentially they're training wheels. Okay, they're to help you learn how to ride the bike, and at a point you throw them away. Just like you do a training wheels on a real bike. You don't need them, After you don't need them anymore, you don't even think about them. You get rid of them, or you give them to somebody else. Well, the same thing with the nikud, because every word in Hebrew, and we're looking at these words, ani, ata, ta is you, masculine singular, at is you, feminine singular, hu is he, this is he, she in Hebrew. Okay, then we have anachnu, which is we. It's not us, it's we. Okay, anachnu. And you have atem, which is you all, masculine. Then you have you masculine plural. Then you have a ten, you feminine plural. Then you have haim, they masculine, and haim, they feminine. So the point here is that usually when someone starts to formulate sentences in Hebrew, it begins with a pronoun, one of these. You know. Usually it's ani. Okay. So we're going to go back to this these sentences. So we have here. Okay. Zoom in just a little. It's a little fuzzy, but you can see. You know. So that's ani, gar, ba. Let me pull out a little bit. Maybe that's better. Okay. Ani, gar, ba bayit, hahu, sham. So ani is I, and gar comes from the Hebrew verb lagur. So I'm going to type it here. First, I'm going to type the verb uh, so that we can understand what's driving the action, because the verb is extremely important. So the verb is lagur. Okay, lagur. Lagur means to live or to dwell, to reside. Lagur. That's in its infinitive form. Lagur, to live, to dwell, to reside. But in the masculine, in the present tense, you would say gar, like this. Okay, gar, just like we have here. Gar, right here. Look at that. Okay, this word right here, gar. So when we go here and we say, let's delete that, and we say, I'm going to take the training wheels off for now because we've looked at ani, right? Let's look at it over here. We've looked at ani right here. There it is. You can see it. Okay, so it's an aleph, it's a nun, and a yud. And it does have these nikudot here, right? So, but they don't really help you. Once you know that aleph, nun, and yud is ani, then aleph, yud, and nun is ani. So you can throw the for words that you recognize, you can throw the training wheels away. Because word recognition is how you learn any language. It's how you learn whatever languages you know now that you write and read and speak in. So, ani is aleph, nun, yud. And there is no other word that spelled aleph, nun, yud in the Hebrew language that means something else. So we're gonna let go of the nikud here, and so we go aleph, nun, yud, ani. That's ani, and then we want to say I live, meaning I'm not live like I'm living, talking about where you reside, where you dwell. So then you would say gar with the kamats, right? Not kamats, kamats, not kamats, kamats. Ani gar, okay. And then we could say, we could give a little definition to it and say, okay. All right, now we're gonna read this. All right, so there you have it. Ani, I'm talking about me now. So Ani gar be di mo na. Period. It's complete thought. Ani gar bidimona. Okay. Again, it's a complete thought. Let's do this. There we go. All right. So if it was a sister talking and she was talking about herself, everything would be the same as you see. She would use ani. The place would be bidimona. Bid means in. This right here, this bait, it means in, on, or at. So you basically have to discern when someone is using be, whether they're talking about in, on, or at. But those three are kind of closely related to each other. So, but she wouldn't say God. She would say ani, and then she would say gara. Right? Say gara. Bidimona. Okay, so I'm not going to put the nikud under demona again. What I'm going to do is just write it without nikud. So you can see how it looks with nikud and without. So without nikud, it would be bidimona. Okay. Ani gara bidimona. Period. All right. So that's what the sister would say. Ani gara. Okay. The brother would say ani gar. Okay. So this is just a brief example. Another example, we could say, uh, this is a different verb. Um, we could say, we'll start with ani again. Again, keeping it personal. So we'll say ani. Now, this is a different verb. Before I write that, let me give you the verb first. So the verb would be, so you notice that in the infinitive form of Hebrew verbs, just like in the infinitive form in English verbs, it always starts with to. The difference between Hebrew and English is that the to in English is separated from the actual verb. It's actually two words. Like if you say to eat, it's T-O space E-A-T, right? But in Hebrew, the le, or however that lamed is connected, because the lamed means it designates the word to, T-O. So that lamed is always connected to the verb, and that's Hebrew. Okay, the word to doesn't, you will never see a lamed just out in space like this, like you say, okay, if you want to say to live and then you want to say la, la gua, you wouldn't write it like that. Okay, that space, no, you wouldn't have that space. It would be like this, la gua. Okay, And that's the same word that you have here, but this is without nikud. Now again, it's all about recognition. So perhaps if you're reading or writing or you're whatever, and you see Lamed, Gimel, Vav, Resh, oh, I know, I've seen that word before. Lagur, it means to dwell, to reside, okay, to live in a place, right? So, but I'm want to deal with a different verb now, but just giving you the idea so you understand. We're dealing with all the verbs I'm going to present to you uh, before I give you the verb here, like I gave it to you, masculine, singular, in the present tense, feminine, singular, in the present tense. I'm going to give it to you um, in its infinitive form. So this next verb is going to be a different verb, of course. All right, that's the verb. So if you're reading along with me right now, I could pause and give you an opportunity to read it for yourself. And that's what I'm doing right now, giving you an opportunity to read it without any help from me. Okay? And so if you said lavod, you were correct. Okay, this is a patach. This is a chataf patach, which means it's kind of like a shortened version of the regular patach. So when you see these two together, you don't say la vod. You blend them together. When you see these two together like that, you blend the sound together under those two letters. So it's not la vod, it's la vod. Becomes an extended blended syllable of ah. So it's la vod, la vod, la vod. Okay. So la vod means to work. Now you notice I'm not really fond of writing English on the page. I'm just not. But I will tell you what the English means. Like this means to dwell or to live or to reside. Lagur, lagur, lagur. Lavod means to work. Okay, to work. It also means to worship. So when we say, if I were to say ani oved et yo, that means I work for, I toil for, I labor for, I worship yo. The same verb root, the same verb, lavod. Okay, but in the everyday sense, lavod simply means to work. So what we would do is we would have, so if we had a sentence, let's use a different pronoun. So let's go back to our pronouns here. So let's use this one, who. All right, let me use who. And who in Hebrew means he. All right, so it's third person masculine singular. Third person masculine singular. All right, who. Let's go back to where we were. So we will say, now, I'm going to give it to you once with the nikud so you can see it. There's only one nikudah. Nikudah is a dot. There's only one nikudah. Okay, and that's the one right there. And this letter right here is called a shuruk. When you see it like that, that's a shuruk. The vav with the nikudah right there, it's called a shuruk. And it gives you the oo sound. So just like you saw it here, you saw it here in lagur. That's a shuruk. So, and when you see the vav here with the dagger with the nikudah above, that's called a cholam. But you all should have you should have studied this already. This is review. This because Nikud, the Aleph, Beta, and the Nikud is those are the first two things that you have to study in order to learn how to read Hebrew. So that's a shuruk. This is a cholam, vav with the cholam. Okay, so we're gonna say who, which is he. Okay, we're talking about a brother, right? So we're gonna say who. Okay. Now that's a very distinctive looking word. When if you were to type it without the nikud, and it would look like this. Let's do it like that. And you were to type it in, it would look like this. Nothing, no other word looks like this one. You know, there's no other word that resembles this word. So you really don't need that nikud. So I'm taking it away. But just so you saw it, you've seen it. All right. So with the nikud, it's got the nikudah there, the dot there, which is the shuruk, which gives it the hu sound. But I'm going to take it away because you really don't need it. And you might be saying, yes, you do. But okay. So there it is. Who. When you see that, that means who. That means you're talking about him, a man, a brother, right? And that's not, someone else over there. We're talking about who. Let's say we're talking about your brother. So you're going to say who, and this is our verb here that we're going to use for this sentence, which is lavod, which means to work, which also means to labor. Which also means to worship. Okay. So, but in this sense, we're talking about just the day-to-day going to work. So in the present, masculine, singular present tense. So where does your brother work? So we're going to say who. Okay. And then here's that vav with the cholam again. Okay. Then we have a tsere under the veit. Right? Tsere under the veit. Okay. Who oved. And we've already used this word before twice now. You've seen it with nikud, you've seen it without. It's very distinctive. You don't need the nikud, but you're looking at it both ways. So we're going to say that your brother, who oved be dimona. Okay, who oved be dimona. Period. Who oved be dimona. So what are we saying? We're saying that your brother works in Dimona. He works in Dimona. All right. So Hebrew verbs are basically the foundation of the language. So here you have some examples. Now we were talking about. I'm going to open up another one of these. This is my little. This is like my whiteboard or my chalkboard, where I'm going to keep it big like that, so we don't have to zoom all the way in. So let's say we're talking about your sister. Okay, so let's go here. Go back to our pronouns. So your sister. So your sister wouldn't be at, because at is you, right? Your sister wouldn't be ani, right? Because that's I. Your sister would be he, right? He. Again, just like who, no other word resembles that. But for now, we'll use it with the nikud. So he with a yud and an aleph. So we're still using this verb, lavod, to work. to labor, also means to worship. So we'll say he. Now, Hebrew is not like English, as you know, where because in English, if you say your brother works in Dimona and your sister works in Dimona, use the same verb. He works, she works. Okay, and that's another class in and of itself why English does not delineate between gender. There's more to that. But for now, just know that Hebrew does delineate between gender. Okay, so you can't say he and then say ovade. This word right here, that's for a brother. That's masculine. That's masculine singular in the present tense. You can't say he ovade, okay, because it's just wrong. Okay, it's incorrect. It's not correct Hebrew. So for a sister, you would say he ovedit bidimona. So now you've seen dimona, bidimona 4 times. So that should kind of be imprinting on you a little bit. Bidimona. Okay. Bidimona. Period. All right. Period. That didn't work. Oh, that's okay. He ovedit bidimona. She works in Dimona. All right. So you know now that if you're talking in the present tense, two verbs now we've given you. We've given you to reside, to dwell, and if the ani here is a brother, which it is, ani gar bidimona, and the ani here has to be a sister because it says ani gara bidimona. So now these two verbs, you have a little bit of conjugation history with this verb, lagua. In the present tense, you're talking about masculine singular, it's God. If you're talking about feminine singular in the present tense, it's gara. So here we have hu oved, the verb being lavod, to work, to labor for, also meaning to worship. Hu oved bidimona, then you go here, he ovedit bidimona. Okay, so you have some conjugation history here. Now we want to use the verb in the sense of worship. So in the sense of worship, we're going to choose as our subject anachnu. Another word that this one right here, that does not, nothing else resembles it. But for now, I will use the nikud for now. So let's go here. So we will say, okay, that's anachnu. Except I made a tiny little mistake. Let's go back. That should be a patach. Now, if you're wondering how I could make that mistake, it's because not only do I not usually write or type with nikudot, but I don't like doing it. But for you, I will, because you got to learn, right? So there you go. I'm sorry. There it is. Anachnu. Right? So there you have it. Anachnu. Right? So let's just look at the word for a minute. Anach. So it's the first syllable. Anachnu. Okay. Space. All right. So then we're going to say, so now we're going to take this verb lavod, this one, lavod, and we're going to take it to another step further in the conjugation of the verb. So anachnu, because it's plural, we can't use this verb right here, oved. That's singular. And because anachnu anachnu means we. So unless we know that we're talking about only a group of sisters, anachnu would always have a masculine, would always use a masculine verb. So we have to use now, for anachnu, we have to use the first person masculine singular form of the verb lavod. Okay? Lavod. Lavod. So in first person masculine singular, it's oved. In the first person feminine singular, it's ovedet. Okay, and now here we're talking about first person plural. So plural, and so usually plural, it denotes more than, it usually has a masculine verb, unless you know that it's only a group of women. So it has to be first person masculine plural. Anachnu. So that verb is this. Okay. Anachnu ovdim. Okay. So we have anachnu ovdim. That's the verb. Ovdim. So it's not oved, this one, and it's not ovedet for the feminine. It's ovdim. That's masculine, plural, in the present tense. Ovdim. So then we say anachnu ovdim et Yah. Now, normally when I write the name of Yah, I don't use nikud. If I were going to use nikud, it would be this. But Yah is a very distinctive name. Of course, we know who Yah is. So anachnu ovdim et Yah. We work for, we toil for, we labor, we worship Yah. And that's how you would say it. The point being that there's a difference between how you would say, I work on a job somewhere, and how you would define that you work for Yah. And as you can see, that et there, the word et is essentially a word used to tell you that the next word after it is a direct object. So the word et really doesn't mean anything. It's just telling you, it's like a signal or a sign saying, okay, the very next word after me being et. The very next word after et is a direct object. So anachnu ovdim et Yod. We worship, work for, toil for, labor for Yah. Now, normally, again, as I said, I wouldn't use the nikud, but just so you know, that's how it's written with nikud, the name of Yah. Right? And so now we know from this verb here, lavod, we know in the present tense if we're talking about a brother, who oved b'dimon, oved. We're talking about a sister, he oveded b'dimon. Okay, so we have oved and oveded. Then we have a group, and it's either a mixed group or a group of all brothers or a group of mixed brothers and sisters. Then it would be ovdim. So let's say that we're talking about a group of sisters. So this is anachnu. We're going to use anachnu again. So let's say this is a group of sisters that are talking, that are writing the sentence. And they're saying we. They're saying anachnu, we. So what they would say, I'm not going to put the nikud there because again, anachnu, like who, like he, like many other words in the Hebrew language, is very distinctive, and no other word looks like it. So when you see aleph, nun, chet, nun, vav, that's anachnu. See, you don't, and when you look at it, you're looking at it right now. You say, okay, yeah, that looks, that's how I want you to get used to saying the word. Not like this, but like this. Because most places you're going to see anachnu written, it won't have the nikud. So I'm trying to prepare you to take off the training wheels, and to simply recognize the word. Anachnu. Anachnu. Okay, so let's say we're talking about a group of sisters here. Okay, and they're writing the sentence, and they're saying we. So they wouldn't say ovdim because that's masculine. That's first person masculine plural. So what would they say? Okay, they would use first person feminine plural, which would be ovdot. Ovdot. Anachnu ovdot et Yod. So you go back to that word. Et. And I'm going to write Yod the way I normally write it with no nikud, which would be Yud He. Period. Anachnu ovdot. This is a group of sisters talking now. Okay. Anachnu. Let's read it. So starting here. Anachnu ovdot et Yod. And that's what a group of sisters writing the sentence in the first person, feminine plural, they would say that. But let's say we are talking about them. Let's say someone else is talking about this group of sisters. So then we wouldn't use anachnu at that point. We would use a different word. So let's go back to our kinuye aguf. Kinuye aguf, right there, personal pronouns. So they feminine would be this word. So I'm going to give you a chance to read that for yourself. It's one syllable. You should have it by now, but maybe you don't. I'm going to give you a little bit more time. Okay, so that's Hain, 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 right? So we would say, so if we're talking about that group of sisters, we would say HaCohane, HaCohane, and we'll use this verb again. Okay, and I'll keep the nikud there just to help you. Okay. Ov, dot. Okay. But now I'm going to take the nikud off of et because you've seen it 3 times in a row now. So I'm going to take that off. All right. So, I'm sorry. Okay. Et, and then yo. Period. Nikuda. So, all right. So we said, go back here, lavod, to work, to work, to toil, to labor, to worship. Who obeyed the demona? And we have here, he obeyed the demona. So we're talking about your brother here, who, and your sister here, he. And then we're talking about ourselves. So we say, Anachnu, we, Ovdim et Yah. We worship Yah. It means we bow down to Yah. We serve Yah. Anachnu Ovdim et Yah. Okay, but this is assuming that it's a mixed group of people or all brothers, Ovdim. So then if the Anachnu, and there's that word without Nikud, this is how it looks with Nikud, without Anachnu. So if it's a group of sisters who are writing this in the first person feminine singular, it would say Anachnu ovdot et Yah. And then if we're talking about that same group of sisters, that would be this sentence here. And we would say Hain, they. Third person feminine singular, they. Okay. They. So Hain ovdot. Just like here, we have Anachnu ovdot. The sisters are talking about themselves. Anachnu ovdot et Yah. Then we're talking about them, right? So we say Hain ovdot et Yah. Okay. So now we know how to use the verb la'avod, this verb right here, in every way that you could use it in the present tense. So we have oved, we have ovedet, we have ovdim, and we have ovdot. Those are the only, those, for every possible pronoun in the present tense, that verb, those are the 4 ways that you would use it. Oved, ovedet, ovdim, ovdot. I go ovdot twice here. So, these are sentences. I've given you the English meanings. I didn't write the English down, so you have to do that. Okay? I'm not really talking that fast, and I'm not typing that fast. So you have to, let's see how long we've been recording for. 44 minutes. Okay. I'm trying to keep this under an hour. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this a step further. I like this verb here, lavod. Okay. I really like this verb a lot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it now to the past tense. And I'm gonna explain to you that in the past tense, you don't need these pronouns. in the past tense and in the future tense. You don't need, I'm going to zoom out a little here. You don't need these pronouns, these 10 right here. In the past, in Hebrew, in the past tense and in the future tense, you don't need the pronouns. And I'll explain further. So I'm going to open up another one of these for this. Okay. So this is going to be past tense, and I'm going to put here let me just do this. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Okay, now, so we're going to just write, I'm going to give you a little header here, a title, so to speak. So we're going to say, that's not good. We want this one. Okay. Okay. Okay, I had to pause it for a moment. I'm back. So, Zman, that word is Zman. Okay, Zman means time, but it also, and when you're speaking of Hebrew grammar, it means tense, like present tense, past tense, future tense. So, Zman Avar Zman Avar means past tense. So, and past tense of what? So we'll do this. We'll put a colon here. All right. We'll say lavod. So you've already seen it with the nikud, but I'm going to keep the nikud there just for continuity's sake. Lavod. All right. Oops. Wrong letter. Okay. Okay, lavod. And then I'm going to give you the shortish, which is ayin muved dalet. Okay. So remember that. That last thing there is the shortish of the verb, the root, the verb root, ayin veit dalet. Okay, that's where everything comes from when it comes to verbs. Okay, so we're talking about zman avar, past tense. Now you would say, well, that's backwards from English. Well, what's backwards is English, not the Hebrew. The Hebrew's not backwards. English is backwards. Just like we're writing from right to left and reading from right to left, that's not backwards. It's the English that's backwards. So zman avar. So in Hebrew, the modifier comes after the noun. So zman is time. Well, what kind of time? Past time or past tense. Avar means past. Zman avar. Past tense, the verb lavod, which means to work for, to work, to toil, to labor, to worship, right? Okay. To bow down to serve. Lavod, this is the shortish, the verb root, ayin veit dalet. Okay? So now in the past tense, if we're saying ani, and I'm going to just type ani with no nikud, just to give it to you. So ani, so if you want to say So if someone said, now what I'm about to give you is a complete thought. It's a complete sentence. It'll have a period at the end of it, and it'll make perfect sense. Okay. But if someone said to you, let's say they're talking to me, and they say, Elamahd, did you work today? That would be the question. Elamahd, did you work today? Okay. And then if I responded to them in Hebrew, I would say ani. And we know ani now. We've seen it a few times here. So we have ani over here twice. Okay. Ani, ani, right? That's ani. I. Not me, but I. Okay. So then I would say, in response to the question, they're asking me, Elamahd, did you work today? So I would say, ani, and I would use this verb, la'avod, in the past tense, zman avar, this being the verb root. I would say, ani avad, avadti. And then period. That's a complete thought. It's a complete sentence. Ani avadti. So what am I saying? I'm saying I worked. Again, ani avadti. Ani avadti. Ani avadti. I worked. But let's say maybe I want to say more than that. So I would say, can I do that? No, I can't. So it's not good. So, oops, gotta bring that back. So what we'll do is we'll go, we'll just, it's not good. So we'll do this. My program just decided to mess up what I'm doing here. I'm going to fix this really quickly. Okay, so going back to where we were. Okay, so let's say I want to say more than ani avadti. Let's say I want to say I worked today. And I did. I actually did. I worked today. So then I will say ani, and then here's our verb. Avadti. Ani avadti hayom. And hayom, so we use a hey. Hayom. Period. Ani avadti hayom. Okay, period. Complete thought. That's a sentence. So, but in Hebrew, it's not like English. So if in English, if you just said work today, who worked today? You don't know who you're referring to. Unless somebody is talking directly to you and say, you work today? You say work today. Okay, so then it's kind of cryptic, but you say, okay, he must be talking about himself. But in Hebrew, avadti means I worked. You don't need ani. Okay? In the past tense and in the future tense, the verbs in all all verbs, all verb buildings, all conjugations, in the past tense and in the future tense, you don't need the pronouns. Okay, that's across the board in the entire language. And actually, you don't need it in the imperative or the command form of Hebrew verbs either. But we'll get into that later. Right now, we're talking about the past tense. We're talking about yesterday or earlier this morning. So we don't need ani. All we need is avadti hayom. Avadti means I worked. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to convey to you right now. That this is the one of the great and wonderful things about Hebrew verbs. So with that in mind, so we can totally drop the ani, and we can just say vad t. Could just say avat. Could just say avat. Okay, so I'm gonna give it to you like that. So that's I worked. Okay, I worked. Or we could say avad t hayom. Oops, wrong letter. And let's get this together. Okay. There we go. All right. Avati hayom. All right. So you have it here in the three ways that you could answer this question. So they come to me and they say, Elamahd, did you work today? And you could say, Ani avati hayom. Ani avati hayom. So when you put ha and yom together, it becomes hayom. Becomes hayom, 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 hayom. Ani avadti hayom. Or I could just say avadti, avadti. I worked. Right? That is, believe it or not, that's a complete sentence, and that's what it is. Avadati, I worked. Okay. And then, or I could say vadti hayom, which is I worked today. So checking our recording time, we're up to 59 minutes. Oh, so you know what that means. It's time to stop. So that was a little information about the Hebrew verbs and sentences. I'll have more recordings to come. I hope this was informative, and any feedback you might have, please give it to me. You send it to me. You can post it on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to take it slow, but you see what we did today. We jumped all the way up into Hebrew verb conjugation. So we took a verb, this verb right here, la'avod, with this being the verb root, and we went from the present tense all the way to zman avar, which is the past tense, and And we see how that in the past tense you don't need the pronouns. So this is what we did today. And this recording is going to be a little bit longer than an hour, but not by much. So I pray that you have, again, learned some things and enjoyed the video, and we will continue on. Hallelujah. Y'all high. May y'all continue to bless you on this path as you work for Him, as you serve Him, as you seek to advance the interests of y'all on this planet. May He continue to work for you. May He continue to help you and guide you and direct you and lead you in all that you do. But it's conditional. He's not going to work for you. He's not going to help you and bless you and do all these wonderful things for you if you're not advancing His interests. Okay, that's the thing you have to remember. So, going back to this recording, this page, Anachnu ovdim et yo. We work for, toil for, labor for, worship, bow down to, and serve Yo. Okay? That's who we are, that's what we do. And because we do that, then He will bless us, He will guide us, He will direct us, He will give us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we need to succeed on this path. But again, it's conditional. It's conditional. We have to make our goals and our sphere of interests, our aims, and our goals have to be in common with His. That's conditional, just so you know. Just letting you know. Okay? So just to review, looking back over what we did, Lagur, Ani gar b'dimona. Lagur means to dwell, to reside. Ani gar b'dimona. I live in Dimona. That's first person masculine singular. Ani gara b'dimona. That's first person feminine singular. Then we have the verb la'avod, to work, to toil, to labor, to serve, to worship. Hu oved b'dimona. He works in Dimona. And we have he ovedet. He ovedet b'dimona. She works in Dimona. Anachnu ovdim et Yah. We serve Yah. We worship Yah. Anachnu ovdot et Yah, which is what a group of sisters would say. There are no brothers involved with that in that group. And then if we're referring to that group of sisters, we would say they aim ovdot et Yah. Okay, and then finally we take it to the Zman Avar, past tense, same verb, la'avod. This is the shortish, the verb root, ayin, veit, dalet. Ani avati hayom, I worked today. Avati, I worked. Okay, and avati, I worked today. So essentially, this sentence here with ani and this sentence here are saying the same thing. Ani avati hayom, avati hayom, saying the same thing. I worked today. Okay? So we're done. Enjoy, and more videos to come. Shalom, shalom.